Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We are live here on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, Tam McManus and Alan Ruff are alongside me. We're delighted to have your company. Don't forget, you can subscribe to the channel, you can hit the bell and you'll get all the notifications on when we are live, and of course all our unique video content. Simple as that. Lots to talk about. We'll look at not only Celtic in European action tonight against FC Michelin, but there's two clubs tomorrow that we can look ahead to, Aberdeen and Hibernian as well. Could we be celebrating on Friday morning 3 positive results for Scottish clubs? Certainly hope so. And we'll also hear from the St Johnstone boss, Callum Davidson, who'll be giving us his thoughts on potentially losing some of his key players. Simple as that. Lots to get our teeth into. Of course, the most nail-biting of it all, Ruffy, has to be FC Michelin. This is one where, you could talk till the cows come home about the problems that Celtic have. They now have to get on with it and produce a result from somewhere.
Yeah, they certainly do, and obviously they played them at Parkhead last week, and they'll know exactly what they're up against. They'll know the players that are up against. They'll know what they have to do. I think as far as the Celtic supporters, they'll be just eager to see the team lines, because the team lines could put the fear of death up if you see who the goalkeeper is and you see who the back four is. But apart from that, I think they've still got quality in the side, with Edward up front, 3 boys in midfield who we know are particularly good. So it's the defence, it's the worry. You know, then are Celtic capable of getting through this game without losing a goal? And the evidence so far is no. So that means you're looking at 2 goals, maybe 3 goals you've got to score.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Tam, when you pick up the papers this morning and some of the social media reports, suddenly Celtic are in talks with Joe Hart, who's at Tottenham, kicking his heels. If you see that, you know exactly what they're thinking behind the scenes. Vasilis Barkas is not the answer.
No, he's not the answer. I mean, as Ruffy said, I don't think you can play him tonight. I think the first leg, Celtic were pretty comfortable, you know, and he's got to save that. He pulls his kind of hands away, ball goes in. Even the couple of West Ham goals at the weekend leaves a big space at the near post. I just think he's done at Celtic. I think you look at a guy like Joe Hart, that's the guy, a calibre that Celtic have got to try to bring in. 34 years old, 75 caps for England, won everything in English football. He's been stuck behind 2 good goalkeepers down there at Burnley and Tottenham. But I still think he's got a lot to offer, and if Celtic can get that deal done, then I think that would be a massive signing for Celtic. Yeah,
it would be crucial. I mean, as far as the starting 11, the predicted starting 11 for Celtic for tonight, it's not. I don't think there's too many changes from what was on offer last week. There you can see it: Ruffy, Barkas, Ralston, Welsh, Murray, and Taylor. Turnbull, Sorrow, McGregor, Abada, Edouard and Christie. And that's what we think is going to be the starting lineup. He doesn't have too many other options to tweak it.
No, as I said earlier there, I think the midfield and up front, I'd be quite happy with that so far with the players they've got on the books. That back four, if Celtic get the signings that they're going to get, won't be the back four that'll start. So it's a sort of a second-rate back four, and it's them you're looking at to see them through this tie. You know, 2 young boys in the centre of the back four have got a lot of, you know, pressure on them, you know, to come through this game. You don't want to be the young guy who's come in, you know, and you're the guy who's put Celtic out the European campaign. So a lot of big pressure on them. I hope they come through it, I really do, for the 2 young guys for the future. I hope they have a really, really good game, and they've got their whole future ahead of them, but it has to be a positive future.
Yeah, I mean, I know the new boy, Carl Starfelt, will wear the number 4. Looks as if he could be in line for a debut on Saturday at Tynecastle, 8 o'clock kick-off at night. I mean, honestly, we're moving to the point where I wouldn't be surprised if we eventually get a midnight kick-off somewhere.
Yeah, and that could be a big baptism of fire. You know, having played at Tynecastle myself, particularly in derby games, and Ruffy's the same. It's a very, very difficult place to go and win. Hearts will have a number of supporters in as well. So, first game back up from the Championship, I think that's a really, really tasty game. And Celtic will be wanting to go into that with confidence and getting through this tie. If they do that, then I think they can go and get a wee bit of momentum going into that Hearts game.
Yeah,
can I just thank one of our viewers who came up with the definitive of my Hibs Hearts games?
Yes.
It's 9 losses and 8 draws.
9 losses and 8
8
draws.
draws, so he sent me it, so I thank him very much for that.
Yeah,
I was quite happy if he'd told a porcupine stuck in a win somewhere. But,
I don't suppose you remembered his name.
no.
John Robertson?
No.
Is it Jim Ross?
No, I can't remember. He just sent me it. So, I mean, I browsed over it.
Was that during that period of dominance with Hearts?
Yeah.
Hibs couldn't beat them. It was something like, I don't know, 20, 30 games.
That's when I first started as a reporter at Radio 4, and I just thought Hearts won every game. I thought they didn't.
I thought when they started the whistle, they just gave Robbo a goal.
The wee man was brilliant. Of course, as far as this game tonight's concerned, you're wondering, what have Michelin got to offer? It's certainly not going to surprise the Celtic manager, Ange Postecoglou.
Yeah, obviously when you're at home you feel a little bit more comfortable, so that might give them a little bit more enthusiasm to be aggressive, but I don't expect a major shift in the way they go about things. What's important for us is, we kind of maintain our line and maintain our football and maintain our belief in what we're going to do, and as we showed in the first leg, if we do that and we can dominate the game like we did, then hopefully the result follows.
Okay, 8 days on, they're better prepared. The one thing I would say, Ruffy, is even when they were not as well prepared, I thought they were better than Michelin, what they had to offer, but they still created their own problems along the way. I mean, they could have been, even at 10 men, could have been 2-0 up and the game could have been killed off had Edouard taken his chance.
Yeah, I mean, led to believe, I wasn't at the game, but we're led to believe that the supporters were there, the media were there, saw enough in Celtic that should have won on the day. It's a different game now, it's away from home, the pressure is now doubled, and that's something you've got to handle. That's why these two young boys, it's a massive game for them tonight with the responsibility on their shoulders, not to concede. But I still think there's quality in that Celtic side, particularly Edouard and the boys in midfield, to come up with the goods. I always worry about other teams when they've got a couple of Brazilians in their side. They never really come up with the goods in the first game. But certainly you're always expecting something a bit special for them. But I still think Celtic should edge it.
You're confident they can edge it?
Edge it just.
Yeah.
I'd like to think they get a wee rub of the green, a wee bit of luck, and I'm probably saying it for the young boys in particular. I mean, that young boy Murray who's been thrown in there, it'd be a massive step in his career. Yeah,
it's strange though. I mean, Ange Postecoglou has mentioned the fact that he's not going to make rushed signings. He wants to make the right signing, and he's certainly not going to go for cheap options. I mean, while he's building the side, Tam, day by day, there's constant speculation that players are believing. Barkas not good enough. Clearly, Christie. It would make sense to sell him when you consider what he's got left in his contract. And then, of course, Brighton linked with a £20 million move for Edouard.
Yeah, I think this game's crucial for a number of things, a number of people's futures. I think if Celtic can get into the Champions League, it might just give them that power to keep the guys and offer them another deal. If they go out, I think that you'll be looking at a max exodus of your top players. I think obviously Christie, I thought he was superb in the first leg. I think Christie took a lot of criticism last season. Listen, every Celtic player I think took a lot of criticism, but I think Christie was the one that took a lot of the flack in the neck, and I thought he was excellent. He looked as if he was playing for the jersey. Didn't look as if he was wanting away. And you're needing that, as Ruffy said, you're needing that tonight. You're needing Christie to turn up, McGregor, Edouard to turn up. I don't think they're that great a side. It's only because Celtic's back four and goalkeeper would put the fear of God up you. I think from middle to front, Celtic are better. And it might just be a case of trying to outscore that other team tonight.
Yeah, the captain, Callum McGregor, is well aware that they're going to face a difficult team who've got that home advantage.
I don't think we're massive favourites. I think Michelin, the in Champions League group stage last season, very good team, very strong team. So we have to show them a lot of respect. But at the same time, we have to be confident in our own ability to win the game. So for sure, it'll be a good match.
Okay, let's get down to predictions on this one, because we're not too far away from the start of the game. I don't know, I've got a real worry on this one. I know Ruffy's edging towards a bit of positivity. I think Celtic could lose this 2-1.
I'm going to try and stay positive. I think that Celtic have got enough from midfield to front, as I said, to go and win the game. But I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet. I'm going to go for 3-2 to Celtic. I think there'll be goals in this game tonight. And it might just be extra time.
Yeah. Listen, if it's 3-2, great. Celtic are through. If they should lose this game, Ruffy, I'll tell you right now that there's no criticism of Postecoglou, but I think there are a number of people in that boardroom who should be getting it in the neck to get to a situation. I've seen Celtic make a complete back end of many a European campaign. I mean, I know their chief executive was highlighting in his tenure, 3 qualifications for Champions League group stages before, but he didn't mention the other 6 over the last 9 years where they should have qualified on more than a few occasions as well, and it was basically down to this age-old problem that Celtic fans have with them. That back 4 is a sad indictment of the inactivity, the complacency of Celtic's board. That back 4 tonight should never be on the field. That should not be the weakest point of Celtic going into this game. Yeah,
you're right. And people in that board will probably say that the reasons were they didn't have a manager, they never acted quickly enough, they didn't, they had to wait until somebody came in, the manager was leaving and lots of players wanted out the door and all that kind of thing. But somebody's got to be the focal point of making the decisions. And nobody actually made the decisions, but Celtic were actually making these transfer blunders when they were successful.
Yeah.
Even when they were in the group stages, every season that came to sign players, they made a back end of it. And they've been doing it for the last 6-7 years. But it's okay doing it when you're successful. But now they're not successful, and now people are asking the big questions, who's making the signings? When are these signings coming in? And from my point of view, I haven't a clue who these people are that are coming in. Before, it used to be the players that Celtic brought in were quality international players. You're all playing with Sweden or Norway or Belgium or whatever.
Yeah, but
I know Celtic have changed their policy. It's now a selling club. It's bringing through young players, getting them maybe a couple in Frimpong, selling them on, and that's the policy. And you get away with that as long as you're winning.
Yeah.
But if you're not winning, the fans are going absolutely mental.
I don't think they've changed their policy. I think that has been the policy for, nigh on 15 years. The problem here is that there has been an emergence over the last, even down to a situation where Gordon Strachan came in, he was talking about it in the press over the last 24 hours. There's been this, gamble, a roll of the dice to say, we'll wait and see what we've got and see if they can get us in to land the 30 or 40 million. And they take chances and they delay signings and they don't cover themselves. And there's either always a centre half missing or there's a striker less. There's always a part of the jigsaw that's weak, and it costs them dear. And this one is the point where I think they've been the most exposed. This is the most exposed I've seen Celtic going into a European game.
Eventually it's going to catch up on you.
But it has caught up.
And it's certainly, it's came home now to roost. And the thing with Celtic is you look at that back 4, and as you said, for a club the size of Celtic, to be going into a massive game in the Champions League with that back 4, I think the goalkeeper, they've spent money and he's been a bust, but they did spend money on him.
Yeah.
But to go in with those 4 guys, 4 young Scottish players, and for me, none of them should be starters. They're decent players, and you don't want to write them off for young players who maybe go on loan and come back and learn the trade, but they're getting thrown into games like this. And as Ruffy said earlier, this could make or break their careers. These 2 young centre-halves tonight, hopefully they go out and they impress and they do well and Celtic get through, but if they're exposed tonight and they have a nightmare, that could be, that could put a big massive dent in their careers going forward as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, the Celtic have been training in the stadium ahead of this match. They'll be ready for the game. Obviously, Ange Postecoglou is there. He's got his backroom team, which is the team that was there last year as well. It's amazing, actually. I haven't seen anybody for the manager to shoot the breeze with that's come from his camp. It's 3 players, it's Gavin Strachan, it's Stephen McManus, it's John Kennedy again. He must be a lonely figure at the moment, just thinking, I've got to stay focused on what I want to do and just pass the message on. I don't know about you, Ruffy, but I think sometimes a manager likes to have a right-hand man that is his trusty lieutenant.
Mm-hmm. Well, everybody has it, and whether it's an expert in coaching or not, I hark back to Martin O'Neill and John Robertson.
Yeah.
And John Robertson was the go-between, 2 completely different guys, obviously big football people. But Robbo was there to be something to bounce off. And I think if you look at a lot of managers, that's the case. I still think there's more to come with that. I don't think he'll sit there with the guys that you've mentioned there without bringing in at least a couple of his own guys.
Yeah.
Because obviously John Kennedy's there because he's been there a long time as a player and a coach. The boy Strachan, you know, I don't know what he does. I'm not privy to what he does behind the scenes, but he definitely needs somebody who he's worked with for what, 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, we've given our prediction, Ruffy. What are you going for?
I'm going to go 2-1. I'm going to go Edward to come up with the goods. I think he's still got something to offer, and as Tam said there, I think the midfield have got something to offer as well, but I think Edward will be a big player.
Yep, okay. Fingers crossed you can give us your view on that. And incidentally, if you want to interact with us and give us your thoughts of the game, you could be on tomorrow's show. All you have to do is download the PLZ Soccer app. There's a little category on it called Submissions. Hit that button and it gives you a chance to send us a selfie, send us your comments, or indeed record a message and then just upload it. And we'll have a look and pick the best of them out. And if we pick yours out, then you could have a little prize on its way to your home. Simple as that. Why not download the PLZ Soccer app? You can actually today win this retro Sampdoria top. We're giving it away this week. Some people, one guy says, oh yes, it's what everybody's been waiting on, a Sampdoria replica top. Well, we've got lots of goodies, and I just thought to myself, we'll pull a few of them out and start giving them away. Next week, we're giving away Scottish Premiership tops. Your favourite team is on the agenda. You could be winning your favourite team's top for this season. We've got a great feature coming up this Friday with Gabriel Antoniazzi looking at the cost of actually kitting out your kids, or indeed if you're one of those guys that likes to wear a top to the game, then we've given you the top 12 and what it will cost for you to purchase not only a top but the shorts and the socks as well. When you were getting a strip, Tam, before you started playing professionally, would you buy the whole kit or would you just get the top?
No, I get the whole strip.
Yeah.
As I said the other day, Robert Stores down the Trongate was the store that I always loved. You'd go in, it was like Santa's Cave, you know, you'd go in and it was every strip under the sun, all your foreign teams, Scottish, English, it was magic. And I'd need to get the full strip. And my brother was the same. I can remember 1 year, me and my brother, 2 years, got a Parma strip. And I get the brand new one at Christmas and he get the last year's one. Oh, I think he's never forgot it. It was about 25 years ago. So I must have got a deal, and my dad must have got a deal in the pub and got him the snidey last year's one.
To be fair, Ruffy, when I was growing up, I mean, obviously some of the shops didn't have the extensive range that Tam's talking about and what they've got now, but growing up, the only one top that I really wanted, obviously, you know, Dalglish when he was at Liverpool was massive for me, but I always wanted an Ajax top. I just thought that iconic red stripe and Johan Cruyff with the number 14, and it's not a top you could have purchased then, but they were great. That was for me the iconic strip.
Don't mention the red stripe to him. Bring back bad memories.
Oh, the Peru strip, yeah, you're quite right. No, the only strip I don't remember actually wearing, being associated with a club. You know, I used to just wear like jerseys, because it was goalkeeping jerseys, there wasn't anything there. But I remember one Christmas I got an Airdrie strip. I don't know why I got an Airdrie strip. I must have got it off the Ragman or something. Certainly never went to a shop for it. It must have been a swap for a balloon or something.
Yeah. The funny thing is you're in trouble in Airdrie when you get back. The only thing is, isn't it amazing how when you think about a strip, there's always somebody that you associate with that strip. You know, when you look back, and correct me if I'm wrong, and when every time I saw an Airdrie strip in the 70s, I hope I've got his name right, I always thought about the guy, Derek Whiteford.
Two brothers.
Is that right?
Yeah, there was two brothers, blonde hair he had.
Yeah.
Yep, and Drew Busby as well. They're a good side, good side.
I always think of Drew Busby as a Hearts player.
I thought it was an actual nice strip, the Airdrie strip.
The Airdrie strip
the
was
white
great.
with the red V, it's a quality strip. But my strip was always as you say, the Ajax strip was just because of, you know, Cruyff and something to go with it, you know. And also the national strip, the orange strip, I thought that was a cracking strip.
Did you like that as well?
Peter used to wear that one on, didn't you?
Yeah, well, 14, I mean, I've got one up my wall. It's absolutely magnificent. Johan Cruyff, phenomenal, great player. You can tell us what strip you were going to wear. You could be wearing this one. All you have to do is basically subscribe to our YouTube channel, and when you do that, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and then at the bottom of our programme today, just put who you think's the name on the back of this Sampdoria top. And on Friday, we're going to pick out a lucky winner. And then We're going to look at some of the teams in the Scottish Premiership. We'll have a top from each of the clubs and we'll be giving them away. Simple as that. And we're going to look ahead on Thursday and Friday towards the start of the Scottish Premiership season. Really looking forward to it. Rangers defending the title. Some of the pretenders to the throne battling away. I can tell you we're only moments away from Tam and Gabriel Antoniazzi's predicted 1-12, which should be good. Tonight it's Michelin against Celtic. You can give us your thoughts on that as well. But of course, there is of course the small matter of the other games that we're looking forward to in the Europa Conference League. It wouldn't have been great for you to go to Andorra for Santa Coloma against the High Bees. That was Andorra's lovely.
I was dropping hints, by the way. Oh,
no, the budget's too
budget's
early.
no stretching.
No,
unfortunately.
But 3-0 up. I mean, they should be able to do the business.
Yeah, listen, I seen them flying out earlier this morning, and they're all there. The full team's there. So it must have been a temptation for Jack to leave a couple behind in Edinburgh with a big first game coming up against Motherwell at the weekend. But they're all going on the plane. Whether he goes very strong at the start, gets a goal, kills the tie, and pulls them off, I don't know. Or he goes a mix and match, but I don't see any problems. I don't foresee any problems for Hibs whatsoever. I don't think they were a great side at all. But you've got to respect them. I think they won their second leg 4-1 against a team from Gibraltar. It's on an AstroTurf pitch, so they'll know that pitch well. So I think if they can get an early goal, Hibs, I think they get the ties dead.
Yeah, that's what I would do. To be perfectly honest with you, is keep the strongest side on, Ruffy, kill the tie, and then make sure that you're thinking about the next round.
Yeah, I think that's what you've got to do. You've got to look at your prize players, and once the game's done and dusted, that's the ones you take off and save for the weekend. But I don't think Tam will be going to Andorra any time after reading his column this morning in the Daily Record, where he slaughtered that team and the place and the strip and anybody who lives there.
Yeah, Tam, did you give it big looks?
I was just disgusted with the way they went about the game. There's a way to go and play football, and theirs was just.
Could be a few scores to settle. Could be that could continue.
I said it the other week. I'd send Big Yogi here with the YLT, the young Leaf team, and they began sort them out. I think it'll be a physical battle again tomorrow, but Hibs are far too good for them.
Yeah, I'll tell you though, I was speaking to one of my friends up in Aberdeen, Ruffy. I mean, the whole city's buzzing. I mean, if they don't spontaneously combust with excitement at the moment, because I mean, I am not taking anything away from them. I'll tell you why, because I'm excited by what Aberdeen have at the moment. But a 5-1 win over BK Häcken, more often than not, you'd say, well, they should win against them, but they still had to put the goals in the back of the net, so great credit to them. But is it just a wee bit foolhardy to start getting up ahead of steam about what Aberdeen are capable of this season?
I think the Aberdeen supporters have got every reason to, the way they were. We all spoke about them all season. They were going nowhere, no excitement, no big signings coming in, nothing happening, just churning along. Are they going to be third? Are they going to be fourth? And now the supporters will be looking at them going, new manager, obviously Bruni up there, the signings they've brought in, obviously that we talk about the new training place. The place is buzzing, and when you get results like 5-1, you do go over the top, but you're better being over the top than being apprehensive, because some of the results Aberdeen have had in the past 2 or 3 years in Europe have been diabolical. So, I take the good times while it's there, and if they get through this one, why not, lift your expectations?
Yeah, well, listen, Ross McCrory reckons that this side that's about to start the season are more than capable of creating their own little bit of history for the Dons.
Look, it was a terrific start this season for us. I thought all the boys are outstanding, but look, we've got another job to do again on Thursday. It's still going to be a difficult game. We've got a lot of respect for the opponent. You can see the bits of play, they've got quality on the side, so we need to be wary of that. But we'll go over our game plan and we'll execute it the best we can on Thursday.
Be complacent, to be perfectly honest with you, Tam. The 5-1 up, but the one thing that I do like about them this time around, and I still think they're maybe 2 or 3 players short of being able to cause a few problems in the Scottish Premiership. They'll win this tie and go through, but they've got a nice mix of the experience now and the youth in that team.
Yeah, listen, I'm really excited. I spoke about it when Stephen got the job. I know Stephen very well, played with him at Hibs and Dunfermline, and I know the guys he's worked under, particularly Tony Mowbray. I think he took a lot off of him at Hibs, and Tony Mowbray was the most attacking coach that I've ever worked under. It was all out attack, and that Hibs team under him was fantastic. obviously went to Celtic and that was he had a nightmare there, but at Hibs he was superb, and I think Stevens took a lot from that. And I remember a couple of seasons ago I was over and Stephen was taking the Atlanta B team, and I went to the Tampa Bay Rowdies against Atlanta B team, and I was so impressed by the way his team played.
Yeah.
They drew one each. Tampa were the massive favourites in that game, but Atlanta should have won, and they were excellent, and it was all young boys and they played football the right way, and I just thought, there's a guy who I think's got a big future in coaching. And when the Aberdeen job came up, you know, I just thought he'll be refreshing up there. I think a different style of play for Derek McInnes. Stephen's no scared of losing. He'll go and try and win every game. I know that for a fact, and they'll get a few setbacks. But I think if you're an Aberdeen supporter, I'd be really excited by the way he wants to play. And as you said, the guys he's brought in, you know, Declan Gallagher, Scott Brown, Emmanuel Thomas. I think that's leaders. They're men. I think that's what we lacked a wee bit last season as well. No proper men in there beside your young promising players. So, no, I'm really positive about Aberdeen this year.
Yeah, one of the mistakes I think we have made, Ruffy, is last year when Tam was in his house, obviously he had his wife and she was making sure he looked at the business. His wife's obviously had a word with him and said, look, you looked as if you were sweating the other day there in the studio. So we decided today that in the studio we'd open the door and just let a bit of the breeze in to keep Tam cool. And it's got to be the only day where somebody close to the studio has got a hammer and he's battering it right. I don't know if you can hear it. He's battering it right now and causing all sorts of madness. My producer says we can't hear it, so I'm ecstatic. But I just hear it going bang, bang, bang. And I thought, why do we listen to Tam's wife just to keep him happy on the show?
Yeah, there was a song in here on Monday.
Eh?
It was roasting in here Monday.
Really
It was going to collapse at one point.
I've never been so delighted to see a bit of rain. You can tell we're all Scottish. Just on that point, Ruffy, and no harm, I do think of the weaknesses. I still think there's a back line weakness. I still think, you know, Andrew Considine is getting on. He's got a bit of experience. I'd like to see more competition in the centre of defence over and above Declan Gallagher. I think that's an area that needs to be addressed. Obviously, Mikey Devlin and Ash Taylor there as well, but I think they can be got at. And then, the midfield, I just think it looks great now with Brown just sitting in front to protect that back line. And you're allowing McCrory, you're allowing Ferguson to bomb on. And he's got that nice mix now where if he wants to go long, he's got the big bruiser and Jet. And he's got Christian Ramirez off him. They've got a nice little mix there. I actually think they can win this tie away from home as well.
Yeah, you would like to think so. If they're winning 5-1 at home, they've got a good chance of winning the away. I agree with you with the defensively, maybe the fullback areas. You know, I think as Tam said, they've now got captains in the side. You know, which is a big thing. But that's always been their weakness. I even thought that was their weakness last year. You know, where they'd be doing well and then all of a sudden something would happen at the back. The big goalkeeper, the big boy Lewis, he's a quality. You know, he made a couple of mistakes last year, but you're going to do that anyway. So no, I think there's still another 2 or 3 signings. I think he's sensible enough to know I need a wee bit more quality in defence. You know, so we'll have to wait and see. He's got a wee while yet to see if they add to that.
Yep, absolutely. Okay, I'm going for Aberdeen to win 2-1.
Yeah, I thought I'll go 2-0.
Yeah.
I'll go 2-1 as well. I think Aberdeen will win a capable win tight.
Okay, have we got Hibbies to win? I've got Hibbies to win this one.
Yeah, I think it'll be 2-0 and 7 red cards.
Yeah, okay, I'll go 2-0. I actually think you're not too far away from 7 yellow cards. I think there'll be a few scores to settle.
Yeah, 2-0 as well for me.
Just out of curiosity, Tam, when you were playing, was there a player that absolutely, melted you one day and you thought to yourself, listen, I haven't got him today, but I'll wait, I'll bide my time on him?
There was a few.
Yeah.
One of them was Alan McManus, actually, and my namesake was at St Mirren. He was at Hearts, and I remember he went through me one day for St Johnstone against Dunfermline, and I've never forgot it, and the next time I played against him, I gave him one back. But you never forget. I had a few run-ins with Ozzie McCann.
Oh, yeah,
Big Ozzie's a great guy. Me and two of them Hearts played Hibs in the Festival Cup. It was a pre-season game, and me and him were rolling about the ground fighting, and they ended up playing with each other at Boston United.
Is that right?
And his old man come down to visit us one day, and he's like, I can't believe my boy never bust you that day and all that in the park. But no, there's always a scores. Bobo Baldi, of course.
Yeah, of
but
course.
if he clattered you, you just stayed away from him. You didn't settle a score with him.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the name Austin McCann. I mean, the automatic thought when I think of Austin McCann is his 25-30 pile driver against Celtic. I think it won the game. It was the last minute. It was a great goal, Ruffy.
Yeah, I mean, players are fantastic. You think they've only got one skill involved in them, but they always come up with something. My protector at Partick Thistle was Colin McAdam. Colin used to say, anybody done anything to me, don't worry, big man, I'll get him. And I used to say, that's good enough for me, Colin. You just fire in there.
Which, to be fair, is great, because it reminds me of Tam said he had a big run-in with Colin McAdam one day, but he ran into the dressing room and held the door shut, and Colin came in the other door. It's your worst nightmare. Okay, let's fingers crossed. I mean, I've got a gut feeling it is a nightmare scenario of Celtic going into a playoff for the Europa League, but if they get the win, it'll certainly calm things down. I don't think the manager's going to have too much criticism unless his tactics tonight are so woefully wrong that he gets it in the neck. I think he's beyond any criticism at the moment. I think he's had one arm tied behind his back. I don't know how you feel about it, but not ideal for a Celtic manager to go into this game with so many weaknesses. But that's the way it's panned out. I think they might struggle. The two boys here think they'll go through. Give us your thoughts on that as well. Now, coming up over the weekend, we've got the start of the Scottish Premiership. 4 games on the Saturday, 2 on the Sunday, and that will be the way it'll go and pan out all the way through the season. Hopefully more and more fans will actually be allowed into the ground, which is fantastic. Certainly there's been increases over the weekend that mean that I think there's 23,000 allowed for Rangers against Livingston. Celtic will be allowed 24,500. So you're starting to see more and more fans being allowed into the ground. I think by the 9th of August and onwards, we're praying that we get to the end of August and it could be full houses back at the ground supporting Scottish football. I'm certainly looking forward to it. But all this week, everyone who's on the programme will be giving us their predictions on the 1 to 12. First of all, here's Gabriel Antoniazzi's 1 to 12. Our reporter Gabriel has gone for Rangers, Celtic, Aberdeen, Hibs, St Mirren, Hearts in the top 6, St Johnstone, Dundee United, Livingston, Motherwell, Dundee and Ross County. Oh, we need to tell Charlie that he's tipping him to be in a playoff, according to Gabs. So what about Tam McManus? Tam, talk us through it.
Hey, listen, I think that Rangers, you look at the consistency of squad they've got and the manager and everything, I just think that they will win the league this season. Celtic have got too many question marks over them. Hibs and Aberdeen, I think it will be very close this season. I think you'll see a much improved Aberdeen, but I also think Hibs have strengthened as well. So St Johnstone, can they keep a hold of their players is a big thing. They could push for third, I think, if they can keep all their players. I think Hearts will be in the top 6. St Mirren, I'm going down the bottom. Unfortunately, I think Livingston will really struggle this season.
Yeah.
I just think they've lost some key players. I don't think they've recruited the same quality. I think they finished last season poorly. And I think that Livingston will be down near the bottom. Yeah,
I'm surprised actually you've gone for Ross County. I'm genuinely surprised you've gone for Ross County even in the bottom 2, and I'll tell you why, Ruffy. I know you laugh because you always pick Ross County, but Malky Mackay for me is a good coach, and I think this is the first time, no disrespect to the others, I thought Yogi did a great job keeping them in the division last season, but I think this is the first... I'm trying to not be unkind to other managers, but I think this is the first real high-profile manager that they've managed to get through, strange twists and fortunes for Malky. But Malky is, for me, I think Malky is a Championship Premier League manager in England, and suddenly through, his own downfall, he finds himself at Ross County. I think they've landed a gem.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. We've been behind Malky since, we did an interview with him and he came up and he apologised. He went through everything you had to go through to get back on the right track, and I think he's done everything possible. Obviously, as I said, he's apologised and now he's moving on, and I think everybody deserves a second chance. But if he's good enough to be left in charge of a Scotland team when needed, I mean, he's got credentials there. I see he's tapped into England already, some young boys that are coming up. And we know the owner, well, if he wants money when things aren't going particularly well, he'll get it. So, I think they're turning over. All their older players are leaving now, the Drapers and all that, and the Vigers. And so, other players have got to step up. But I'm a wee bit like Tam, I'm not convinced that he'll get it right away.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem to be too many people convinced about the team that hold 2 of the 3 trophies. Because, Callum Davison, he worked wonders with St Johnstone. Has he set the bar too high and it becomes a noose round his neck?
I mean, we said that. I mean, I would just retire if I was him last season. He's never going to get a better season in his life, but I think it all depends on who St Johnstone can keep. There's their back 3 years getting, linked to everybody.
Yeah.
Hibs are heavily linked with Jamie Mcgrath. So I think if he can keep that nucleus of that team, they were flying towards the end of the season. There wasn't a stronger team towards the end of the season than them. If they can keep that pool together and maybe add 1 or 2, they could be pushing for 3rd place. But on the other hand, if that team gets picked apart, you're looking 5th, 6th for me. Yeah,
and funnily enough, Callum Davison speaking today ahead of their opening match up at Dingwall against Ross County. The St Johnstone boss says, listen, we want to keep the team together, but obviously a run in Europe could give us the extra cash to do it.
I think Europe will play a big part in that. I think where we get to, how we can compete in Europe will play a big part. I think it's been brilliant from allowing for me the Scottish Government to allow us to go to Turkey and then allow us to play our game at McDermott as well. So I'm over the moon about that. It's a real difficult one at this time, so I'm delighted with that. And the European games will be played at McDermott, and then that might allow myself a little bit more leeway in the transfer window.
There's a lot to be said for PR people who decide to stick their manager in what looks like as the Scottish say, it looks as if he's in the shunkie, doesn't he? He's been in that toilet. He's been in that toilet for about 6 months.
He's lucky one.
It's incredible. Put him somewhere with a good backdrop.
Yeah, but the thing about him is he's honest, and I think, as Tam said there'll be bids on the table for 2 or 3 of their players.
Make the bids for him as well.
And he'll be actively trying to convince these players to stay. He'll be saying to them, look, I've got you 2 medals, we could move on for that, and that's what he'll be hoping that these players who, might want to move on to. Obviously wages is a big thing, because St Johnstone won't want to be one of the highest payers there, so
yeah.
He's got a lot of convincing to do, but he seems a nice guy to work for. And it's up to, I think, the players and the agents, because as Tam said, I think there'll be 2 of them will move.
Yeah, it's a bad day though when the rest of the squad say let's go for a golf day. The manager will spank you. Let's go. I think he's a good tennis player as well, Tam. He's one of those guys. He doesn't look it, but he's good at everything.
Aye, I think he's a handy golfer as well. Aye, no, I've heard that, but as we spoke about the players there, but if they get off to a flying start this season, then there's a few championship clubs in England. Maybe clubs that he played with before, maybe a Blackburn Rovers or a Preston. If any of them can lose their manager, he'd be top of the list, wouldn't he? I would think. Yeah,
I mean, listen, there's lots of players that we'd like to see come in and shine in Scottish football. There are, sadly, as is often the case, players that actually leave our game as well. But we're hoping we've got more than a few faces and talented players that can light up our game. Here's a few that you might want to look out for.
With the season starting this weekend, let's have a look at the players to watch out for at your team. Champions Rangers have brought in pacey forward Fashion Sakala, who gives them another option up top. Look out for his off-the-shoulder runs, especially in Europe. Celtic's new attacker is Kyogo Furuhashi. He's still in quarantine, but he can play anywhere across the front 3. He's got tidy feet, and he scored 14 goals in 20 games for Vissel Kobe in 2021. Hibernian have retained most of their key players, and new pacer winger Dan Mackay, signed from Inverness, will add another option to their dangerous front line. Aberdeen have impressed in Europe so far, with American Christian Ramirez scoring on his debut. He'll provide strength, experience and a willingness to run. Double Cup winners St Johnstone have brought in 19-year-old centre-half Hayden Muller as the latest loanee from Millwall. He'll provide cover to their back 3. Andrew Shinney returns to Scottish football with Livingston, and now at the age of 32 has a point to prove at Livy. He'll get plenty of opportunities there. St Mirren have made a few moves as they aim for the top 6. A standout is Greg Kiltie from Kilmarnock. He could flourish in a buddy side playing with confidence. Dundee United may have a novice manager, but Charlie Mulgrew will bring a world of experience to the team. Keep an eye out for his set pieces, having scored a 40-yard free kick already. Kane Willery joined Motherwell from Tranmere after spells at Wigan and Bolton, and he's impressed, starting 3 of the Steelmen's 4 League Cup games, scoring once. Ross County will be up against it this season, and one man who knows all about that is Ross Callaghan. The former Hamilton midfielder scored 9 league goals last campaign. Hearts may not have made many moves, but Alex Cochrane, on loan from Brighton, will strengthen their defence, and he started every League Cup game. And Dundee are back in the big time. Forward Luke McCowan had a strong season at Ayr last year, and he scored against Montrose in the League Cup last week. Let us know which new signing you are looking forward to watching most this season.
Yeah, there's just a selection of players that might be able to endear themselves to their supporters. A few interesting ones there. I think out of them all, the one that's got me excited so far is Ramirez.
Yep, I think he's been excellent for Aberdeen in the game he played, and he's got a great pedigree in MLS. And I've played in MLS myself. It's a tough league. Scored a lot of goals over there and played at the top level. So I think he's one. Sakala at Rangers obviously is one, and Furuhashi. I think you look at his video on YouTube, and I know everybody can look good on YouTube, even I looked handy when you put your highlights together. But
steady. There you are. There you are in the picture right now, Tom.
But I was watching his wee highlights reel, Furuhashi from the team in Japan, and great left peg, quick. So he's somebody that once he gets acclimatised, I'm looking forward to watching as well.
Yeah, Ruffy, any there that caught your eye?
I'm surprised he left out. I know he might not be there at the start of the season. Jamie Mcgrath. I'd seen him at the weekend. I was really impressed with him. I think St Mirren will be doing well to keep a hold of him. But no, I think these guys some of them have got to establish themselves. We don't know much about them because they've not been playing anywhere near our leagues. But I think a lot of them will add. New signings always add something to your league. It's always good when you see somebody that you haven't seen before and you're impressed by what they do.
Yeah, it's hard to believe actually, but when you look at the league and the teams that are in it, suddenly you realise that Kilmarnock are not in it, which is so unusual. I'm delighted we've got the Dundee Derby back. That's brilliant. But of course, Hamilton Accies, for so long, they defied every one of us. Ruffy, I mentioned this is our 10th year. 10th year, finally, we don't have Hamilton Accies, which is gut-wrenching for Brian Rice, who's incidentally going to be coming on the show very shortly. He'll sit down and shoot the breeze with us on Accies. And of course, for the benefit of some of our younger viewers, Brian Rice as a player for Nottingham Forest was magnificent, great left peg on him too. But even Hamilton Accies will be hoping to bounce back this season straight back into the Premiership. Can they do it? Well, holding on to players is key, and already today Brian Rice has just mentioned that it looks as if Hakeem Madoffin is on his way.
I think it's really important, and I think it's been good business sense by the club to have him on a contract and to negotiate the fee, whatever it is. So it's always nice to receive money, because there's too many good players leave your clubs these days without getting the just rewards.
Yeah, Accies have to do that. I mean, if we're talking about a club that make their money out of the young players or players that they've brought in and they can sell them on, they are the blueprint.
No, I think Brian said all along, whether they're playing in the Premiership or the First Division, the policy will be give young players a chance. And if they give young players a chance and they sell some of them on, it keeps them in the front foot. But they'll notice more than anybody now that the finances for not being in the Premiership to the Championship is drastic. So really have to pull their strings in, and I think you'll see more and more young players. I don't think they'll begin it and bringing people in with X amount of pounds. I think it'll be young boys, and the track record they've got with young boys is phenomenal. So that's about what he'll be relying on.
Yeah, well, more than a few of the journalists I've been speaking to have said they look okay in some of the early pre-season games. We wish Brian well, and he'll be in here, and you'll be able to put your points to him as well. We've got lots of one-to-ones coming up, specials with managers, players. We brought you some over the summer, and of course over the last 18 months in lockdown. We've had more than a few one-to-ones. We'll be following as many clubs as possible at their games, giving you the chance to hear what the players and the managers have got to say in the Premiership this season. So make sure you tell your friends, share it with them, get them subscribing to PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. There'll be lots of other features that you can enjoy, and of course Gabriel Antoniazzi will bring you in the morning and in the evening the up-to-date news from not only Scotland but English football, European and world football, but certainly we'll be concentrating on what's happening in the UK and how our clubs are faring in European competition as well. So certainly there's a need for you to download the app, because the PLZ Soccer app has all of that in hand at your fingertips. Breaking news, unique video content, podcasts aplenty, and one-to-ones, and you can get involved. All you have to do is hit the submission button and record yourself, and that would be the good thing, Ruffy. It'd be good to hear and see a few of the people who watch the show just telling us their thoughts, and we can play it on the programme.
Yeah, I think that's what made it so exciting last year, some of the comments. And we miss you, we miss him saying,
this is not the show for you.
This is not the show for you. So it'd be good. I think it'd be brilliant.
We've all got thick skins anyway, we can all handle it.
Yes, I know. And will we see them as well?
Oh, you'll see them.
Oh, fantastic.
Give them a bit of stick back.
Let's see what they're like in their houses.
Yeah, exactly. So if you've got a chance and you've got the ability to put your opinion to us, we'd love to hear from you. Download the PLZ Soccer app, go into submissions and just record yourself and then hit submit. And if we play you on the show, then you might be one of the lucky ones getting some special gifts sent your way. This is the start of it all, the big giveaway. Here's a replica Sampdoria top from yesteryear. I wonder what name's on the back of it. If you know what name is on the back, then just put it underneath today's show, post it there, type it down, and as well as subscribing to the channel, as soon as we know that you've subscribed, you've put your name in the hat, we'll pick out a lucky winner on Friday. I'm really looking forward to the start of the season. I mean, of all the games, Rangers, the excitement, they're not going to unfurl the flag until they think they've got a chance of a full house, which I think is right and proper. They've waited such a long time. But of the games that are kicking off, I mean, Rangers will kick off at 1:30 on the Saturday. And then it's all about, can Steven Gerrard raise the bar again?
Yeah, that's what it'll all be about. I mean, you look at Rangers last season, imperious at home, never lost a game. And, a lot of people would say, well, that was because they never had fans. Now they've got fans back. Does that add a little bit more pressure on them to keep that kind of run going? But I just look at how strong they are all throughout the team. The guys he's bringing in, there's competition for places all over the park. They've got real quality and, I think it's a tough ask for Livingston to go there. You don't want to go there on the first day and get a real hammering. But it'll be, listen, to 23 or 24,000 that's inside Ibrox will be absolutely delighted, because they've sat in the house and watched Rangers win game after game, lift the title, stop 10 in a row. And they'll be just delighted to get back in and celebrate with their fellow supporters in there. Yeah, and if the last couple of weeks then to go by, Ruffy, I'll be through there at Tynecastle for game of the day, Hearts against Celtic. I mean, after game one, if it doesn't go according to plan, crisis, the manager, sack the board, you name it, there'll be Celtic fans who'll be far from happy if they don't come away from Tynecastle with 3 points. No, well, obviously in the back of tonight's game as well, if you're saying that's going to go pear-shaped, and if it goes pear-shaped at the weekend, there will be, a lot of people asking the questions that they don't want to answer, but it would be a horrendous start. But Rangers and Celtic generally pull out the stops. They generally, when they're in an adverse situation, they generally come up with the goods. So we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, absolutely. And if Ange Postecoglou can get through Michelin tonight, then that will buy him some time, some breathing space to get some of those players that he wants in. And of course, there's the new firm derby on the Sunday, Aberdeen United. I think it's great to see Charlie Mcgrath back in Scottish football. Possibly, according to Charlie, the best looking footballer as well in the division. Yeah, he's a handsome man. We should do that. Who are the top 10 good looking footballers? Yeah, he's got great hair and all, to be fair to him. But no, listen, I think he's had a great career down in England, obviously at Celtic as well, at an international level. Great signing for Dundee United. Dundee United are another team for me. He's a bit of an unknown quantity. Thomas Scott's coming in. Nobody knows much about him, to be honest, and he's another one. If he gets off to a great start, I think they'll get the fans right behind him. But I don't think a lot of Dundee United fans were particularly wanting him in the job. So I think it's important for him and Dundee United to get off to a fast start, and that's a tough game away to Pittodrie in your first game. Yeah, absolutely. I can only see one winner there, actually. And Motherwell Hibs is something we're looking forward to as well. Will they pay the fare for you to go to Fir Park, or is it? I'm not sure yet. You're not sure. It depends if Hibs get through tomorrow night and they get extra money. Absolutely. Of course, it depends if they're going to continue with it once the fans all come back in. Will there be a need for Tam anymore? I know, I could be looking for a job. Don't say that. Thistle TV. No, exactly. Thistle TV might be looking for something. He's earning more money than he's getting that many things going on now. If it's not bookies, it's Hibs TV, it's the Daily Record. It's give somebody else a chance. I get away with me and play golf together. Yeah, just keep shelling their money. I'm really looking forward to Aberdeen Dundee United on this Sunday, and Motherwell Hibs as well. We'll have reporters up in Aberdeen giving us an insight into what's happening up there, because we think it's going to be an exciting place to be this season. Can Stephen Glass maintain the early season hype and of course give the Aberdeen fans something to shout about in a positive sense?
as Tam mentioned, they went a wee bit stale. If you're an Aberdeen fan, are you excited by what Stephen Glass is offering up there at Pittodrie? And what about Dundee United? I think we'll do that feature tomorrow, Tam. Top 10 best looking footballers in the game. It'll be interesting to see.
It's better than the ugly ones.
Can I say that now?
You can't, no. Too many people
Can I call somebody ugly?
No, exactly. Too many.
You'll get done for it.
What do you call them then?
Too many people are. Too many people are offended, Ruffy.
I know.
The whole world's waiting to be offended. Anyway, we'll do the top 10 good-looking ones. Start it off in a positive sense. Listen, great to have you watching us. Hopefully you'll tell your friends, and we'll grow bigger and better this season, as we have done every season. We've been on the football show. The figures have been great. The subscribers, again, on the up. Brilliant to have your support. We're exclusively on YouTube. I know some people wanted us to go on Facebook as well as Twitter, but this is the way ahead for us. You can subscribe to our channel, tell your friends. I know we've got lots of people who watch it in the UK, and we have a horde of fans, Ruffy, who stick by us. From near and far, talking about America, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, you name it, Vietnam, they're all there watching the programme.
Yeah, we were just obviously waiting in the pandemic, getting a lot better, because we've got a lot of people we've got to go and visit. Crash in on them.
I have to tell you, we have been invited.
Thailand.
We've been invited to a wedding as well, but I just wonder whether we're all going to make it. It's quite far away, and I'm not too sure about travelling on a private jet with Ruffy. Anyway, apart from anything else, we're looking forward to the new season. Continue the build up with us if you can. Good luck to Celtic tonight, and we will also look in greater detail tomorrow at those two games involving Aberdeen and Hibs. Looks as if it's comfortable. Let's hope they continue in that vein and get through to the next stage of European football. We want as many clubs playing group stage football here in Scotland. We want good domestic football and good European runs as well. Hopefully you share that view. From Ruffy, from Tam McManus, from myself, Peter Martin, don't forget, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Gabriel Antoniazzi will be back tomorrow morning with the breaking news.